story is intense.
When you have a personal brand, it is so easy to get consumed with yourself.
God was like, "You're gonna go viral today."
You're tapped in a way that I want to be tapped in. Right?
I was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety disorder, clinical depression, dissociation disorder. But what they did not account for was the healing power of Jesus. I had this whole life, I was engaged. God said, "I want you to leave everything behind. You're not your own God," and that's a relief.
What are you struggling with?
I have one glimpse from that night where my face is on the concrete, and I remember thinking, if I don't fight for my life, I'm going to die right now.
God uses ordinary gifts to do extraordinary things. 99.999% of the beautiful things in this world were not meant for us.
I remember just like looking up to the sky in the middle of crowds of people on drugs, and I was on drugs myself, just being like, just please protect me because I can feel the darkness.
So the whole purpose of this whole podcast, the whole reason I'm doing it is because... All right, here we go.
Let's go. Let's get into it.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Chase Goodwin Show. Today I am here with Hannah Beyler. Hannah, thank you for being on the pod.
Thank you for having me.
Hannah and I met a few weeks ago, maybe about a month ago.
Uh-huh.
Where did we meet?
Where did we meet?
We met at
it had to have been an event.
Yeah, it was at an event.
Was it my event?
Oh no, you know what? It was at the Run Club in Nashville.
Was it?
What Run Club is that? That was the only time I've ever been to that Run Club.
Stride?
Yes.
It was also the
Stride.
only time. It was my first time.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
And then we went out to lunch.
Yes.
Because...
Wait, no, we went, it wasn't Stride. It was Soho House.
Soho. That's right.
That's where we met. Now it's all coming back to me. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, we met there. What really stood out about you, and what has stood out about you, is the fact that in the creator world, in so many ways, there is a bravado in the creator world. When you have a personal brand, it is so easy to get consumed with yourself, and so consumed with the projects you have going on. You are the brand, so you're editing and you're watching yourself on camera. It's just a lot of you. Mm-hmm. And so I've seen this tendency for a lot of creators to just get consumed with themselves. Yep. And from the moment, every single time I've interacted with you, I just have not seen that. I've seen the opposite. I've seen you try to get the eyes off of yourself, and that your mission is much bigger than you. And I really honor that in you.
Thank you.
And was like, man, I want to talk to her. I want to learn from her. I started in the creator world 8 months ago and taking it seriously for 4 months.
Yep.
And so there's a sense of, it's really hard because in a lot of seasons of life, you have people that have gone before you, who can be mentors.
Yep.
The creator world is weird because content creation hasn't been around in the capacity it is for that long. Mm-hmm. Like I was just listening to a podcast about Michael Jackson, and so much of Michael Jackson's life is not recorded in the daily vlogging capacity because that didn't exist. And so it's so new, so quickly, so fast, and it's hard to find mentors in that space. And so just to see somebody who is doing it, and I believe from what I see is doing it well, like it's like someone I'm like, man, I want to learn from this person.
And so. I see the same thing in you, that just authenticity, like you are actually who you are on camera is who you are off camera, and you're very humble and welcoming. And I think part of what's helped me in this journey so far, we both are very new to this.
How long have you been creating?
I've been creating for 4 months.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, so
oh my goodness.
It's new. But what I think really helped me to not, and what I'm trying to stick to not be consumed with myself, is that before I started, God really, he separated me in so many different ways. And I lived for an audience of one long enough that he could trust me to put me in front of other people. And then through doing that, the way that I've kind of gone viral and I've gotten followers and things like that have been through moments where God told me to do something. He orchestrated it. And all I did was show up. And so it is so obvious, but it has nothing to do with me because it was so clearly his orchestrating. I didn't plan any of it. I didn't do any of that. And so I think that it really helped that that's how I kind of started, because now I know that it is not by me that it was done. And for the foreseeable future, if God wants more people to come to me, he will send them. And that's all I would ever want. I think a lot of people get stuck on like this idea of a certain amount of followers or a goal or whatever. It's like, no, I only want what God entrusts me with.
Yeah.
And I had this moment, I went to church and like when this all first started, and I was sitting there and he was like, I need you to understand that these are not numbers on a screen. It has nothing to do with you. These are human souls that I am entrusting you to be one of the many voices in their life.
Yes.
And when I left that church service, I gained 5,000 followers.
Oh, wow.
During church.
Oh,
that was the biggest jump in followers that I had over the last 4 months.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, so you're being for real.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I've really clung to that.
Yeah, like the ability to get outside of yourself and do something that be mission minded, something that has nothing to do with you. It just has everything to do with what you feel personally called to by God.
And the whole purpose of it is to invite other people in. And I think one of my biggest goals with it is just to inspire other people to be bold in their faith and to spread it with the world. Like I want more people to be doing what we're doing. I want people to be answering the calls that God has for them. It has nothing to do with what I'm doing. It's an invitation so that we're all doing it.
Yes.
So
yeah, that's great. What would you say to? And I haven't even we haven't even really done an introduction about who you are, but we'll get into that later. What would you say to other creators, who are consumed with themselves, who are struggling with being consumed with themselves, who are, they feel the weight of this is a lot of me, or young people who are teenagers still who are trying to get in the creator world and they're still in a lot of ways like growing into their own skin. Like what would you say to those people?
I would say that when you have that mindset, the ups and downs will be so intense that you will burn out. Because if your identity is not fully in Christ and your value is not fully in Christ, then when the views plummet or when you get all the hate comments or whatever, you will think because you think your success is about you, you will also think your failures are about you. And so you will have to deal with those highs and lows. Whereas when your identity is so grounded in Christ and you know that it's his plan and it's if any success happens, it's directly from him. And if any failures happens, it's a lesson directly from him. And none of it has anything to do with your personal value. So letting that go, you're not your own God, and that's a relief.
Yes. Yeah, that's so good. There's a verse in the Bible. I was just talking to a friend about this yesterday. 1 Corinthians 3, verse 7 says, there are those who plant, there are those who water, but only God makes it grow. And we talked about the importance of the fact that outcomes are not up to us. Outcomes are up to God. And we can show up. We need to show up. God invites us into the big plan that he has going on and that for this generation. And we get the privilege of participating with him.
Yes, we're collaborating with the
That's
creator.
Right. Yeah, isn't that awesome? And but I think we can oftentimes misunderstand it and think, oh, if I wasn't here, then this wouldn't be as good.
Yeah.
And
he can use anybody.
He can use anybody. He doesn't need us.
Nope.
He wants to use us though.
Yes.
And so it's like
he delights in it.
Yeah. Yes, that's so good. Like so we just got to show up. And the self-forgetfulness piece that we were talking about. I mean, it's one of the hardest things as a creator, but it's also one of the most important things is not connecting outcomes to yourself.
It's just this whole life just isn't about us. And once I used to have a lot of fear about posting on social media, about what people thought about me, stuff like that. And I broke through this ceiling where I realized nothing is about me. Nobody cares. And I live for his approval alone. And when you fully lose everything to the point where that is the only thing that matters to you, the rest of it is I'm just here to bring more people with me until I go home. Like this life is so short.
Yeah. Aliens and strangers.
Yeah.
We're on our way home.
Yeah.
Have you ever read The Pilgrim's Progress?
No.
So it's an allegorical story about this man named Christian.
Okay.
And Christian reads this book, representing the Bible. And in this book, it tells him he needs to leave that city and go to the celestial city. And so he goes to his wife and his kids and says, hey, this book is telling me I need to leave. We need to leave and go to the celestial city. This is where life is found. This is where we will never die. The weeping and gnashing of teeth will be no more. Crying will be no more. Suffering will be no more. We have to go. And his family puts their But sir, like, says, no, we're not going. We are not going. You either choose. You go and we stay, or you stay with us. We want you to stay with us. And with tears running down his face, he runs out the door, headed to the celestial city,
Mm.
because the treasure
Yeah.
is not and was not people or status or comfort.
Yep.
His treasure was going somewhere to be with the creator, that where something bigger than himself was pulling him towards like a place where there is no more suffering, a place where there is fullness of life and joy.
Yeah.
And it's not connected to us.
And
It's
you know
something
who
much bigger.
talks about that a lot too is Paul in the Bible. He talks about how he just wants to go home and be with God. He's like, that's what I prefer.
Yeah.
Like if I die in this prison or if I, whatever, I get to go home and be with God. But for your guys' sakes, I still should be here because I want to preach the good news. I want to bring as many people as I can with me. And I relate to that so much because I've gotten to the end of my road in this life where I've, gotten depressed. I've not wanted to be here. And then I found home in God.
Yeah.
And I know that I will never suffer again when I'm there and I'll be with him for the rest of my life. And he is all that I want. And so there's a big part of me that just craves going home.
Yeah.
But I'm like, there's so much more that he wants us to do here.
To live is Christ, and
Yeah.
to die is gain.
Yeah, exactly. And so then when it's like, once you realize that's the real treasure, it's like, yeah, I don't care about the comfort of this life.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's great. I love that. So, who is Hannah? Who is Hannah Beyler? What has are you from Nashville?
No, I'm kind of from everywhere, but West Coast, California.
Okay.
Mostly.
And when did you move to Nashville?
5 years ago.
Okay. Tell me that story.
Story of how I moved here?
Yeah, how'd you move here?
Okay, so I was in California. I was playing college soccer. I was going to school. I was starting a nonprofit organization. I had a job. I had all these friends. I had this whole life. I was engaged. And God said, I want you to leave everything behind. And I didn't know where I was going.
All right. We need a little bit more.
Yeah. So God said, I want you to
God told you to leave everything behind.
He showed me a vision, and he showed me two paths. And one path was the one that I was already on. But it was just that. It was just this one person and this one thing. And then this other path was like, it was hard, but it was purpose, it was fulfillment, it was community. It was like I saw speaking on stages. I saw all of this, like my calling. It was like you can either have this great life or you can have what I've called you to. And he gave me the choice. But I knew which one he wanted me to choose. Yeah. And as soon as I was like that one, he was like, okay, then give everything up. Give everything up. And so I quit school, dropped out of soccer school, quit my job, packed up all my stuff that I could fit into my Prius, and I lived in my car for a few months. And I broke up with my ex-fiance, and I just lived in my car. And then one of my best friends was like, do you want to move across the country with me? And I was like, okay, where are we going? Where are we going? And we were deciding between a few different places, and she was like, I feel like we should go to Nashville. And I was like, all right, let's go. Like, God told me to leave everything. Maybe this is what he's wanting me to leave for. And so we just hopped in our cars and drove across country. I had never even been on this side of the country. Like I'd never visited Nashville before.
What?
Yeah.
And so you moved here before visiting?
Just moved here. Yeah. Just drove across, moved here. The apartment we found fell through. We had to find a new place, but like we didn't know anybody. Like,
oh my goodness. Yeah. So, like, were you dissatisfied with the life you were living at that time?
Looking back, yes, but I didn't know that I was. Okay. Because I was pre-saved. Okay. So
you came to Nashville as an unbeliever.
I came to Nashville as an unbeliever. I've always had God. I've always had these big, like, just like what I told you, that God spoke to me. I always had these big revelations with God, but I never knew Jesus. Like, no one ever taught me about Jesus. I never followed him. And I was not living, I never really read the Bible either. Wow. I didn't even own one, I don't think, at the time. So I had God, but I didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, did you grow up in any sort of faith?
Not really. I mean, my mom was a believer. And so we had all these like God moments growing up. She's very tapped in. She's very spiritual, but we never like went to church. I didn't have any kind of like knowledge of Christianity or anything like that. Yeah.
Wow. Oh my goodness. Do you have any siblings? What was family like?
I always say I have 1 to 5 siblings, depending on your definition. I have a full brother who's 2 years younger, and he's like my best friend. And then I have a half brother who is 15. And then I have an adopted sister who is 9. And then a step brother and a stepsister who are older.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah. I have a very similar
Okay.
family in that way.
What's your.
I'm the only child
Okay.
that's same mom, same dad.
Okay.
I have four siblings who are half siblings.
Okay.
One who's a foreign exchange student.
Okay.
One who's a god brother, and then one sister through marriage.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mixed families over
Yeah.
here. Okay.
Yeah. My mom had her first kid at the age of 16.
Okay.
And this is crazy. She had first kid at 16, got her tubes tied at the age of 22.
Oh my gosh.
Became a Christian.
Yeah.
Got her tubes untied.
Wow.
And had 2 more.
My goodness. Wow.
Yeah, a crazy story.
Yeah.
So I have a 11-year-old and a 13-year-old brother and sister.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then my oldest sibling's I think like 35. So it's
Okay.
like the range, 24-year range.
Wow, that is so cool.
Yeah.
What a blessing.
Okay, so you started social media 4 months ago.
4 months ago.
And you did it out of a feeling that the Lord wanted you to do it. Is that right?
Yeah, so God has been telling me, I guess I'll just go into the full story.
Yeah, please.
God has been telling me for a couple years now 2 things that I did not want to do. Be single and start posting on social media.
Okay.
And my 2 biggest fears are being alone and being seen and judged by the world. And so that's why I did not want to do either of those things. But
you would not strike me as that kind of person.
I don't feel like I am anymore, which it hasn't been that long since I've been freed from that, but I genuinely don't identify with that at all. But as soon as I committed to being single, it was like, okay, now it's time. Now start posting.
Wow.
And immediately, and the first day that I started filming, God was like, you're going to go viral today. And I just knew. I knew I was going to go viral, and I was like, "Why?"
You're tapped in a way that I want to be tapped in. All right. What the
We'll
heck?
see though, because I had the same feeling yesterday, so we'll see if that happens. If that happens, we really know. But anyways, I really felt like I was going to go viral, and it was snowing outside, and I was like, okay, well, what am I supposed to film? And he said, just start filming. So I filmed everything. I filmed the entire day, just a bunch of random stuff. Okay. And then as I was boxing with my roommate outside filming, my neighbor reacts to it from her balcony super far away. And as soon as she reacted, I had never met her either. I was like, that's it. That's the moment. That's what it was. I just knew. And so I posted it, and I felt weird, and like no one was commenting on it.
Was it your first ever post?
It was my first like posting as an influencer type post where like I put a hook on it and whatever. Like I'd only ever posted like pictures of like, like a normal person.
My life. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, and yeah, no one was commenting on it. None of my friends. I was like, there was a moment where I was like, I should delete this. And then all of a sudden it just like took off. Okay. And that's what's like launched everything was that video. That one got 1 million, and then our follow-up where we went to meet the neighbor got 2 million, and then it kept going and going, and then 2 more viral back to back after that. And so yeah, just in that season when I started like right before that, I made this transition in my mind to radical obedience. I just made this commitment where I was like, every single thing that I do is going to be radical obedience to the Lord, and I'm going to crucify my comfort zone. I'm not going to do anything from a wounded place. I'm going to do exactly what I know God wants me to do. And in that, then the wounds start to heal because you're not acting from them anymore. You're being obedient, and then you see the fruit of obedience, and you can't go back.
Did there have to be like a season of only healing before you kind of got on the field? Like, like the analogy of like getting on the field of life. Like, did you have to go off of the field to heal for a time, and then felt like the Lord was like, okay, now it's time to go on the field?
Yes, 100%. I have actually been on I think it's been 12 years now, healing journey. So I started when I was 15. 15. Yeah, that makes sense. So when I was 15, I went to a wilderness program, a residential treatment center, therapeutic boarding school. I was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety disorder, clinical depression, dissociation disorder. The list goes on. And so I started a very radical healing journey where I tried every single form of therapy that there is. And ultimately, I found, and a lot of them, some of them worked well, some of them didn't. I tried psychedelic therapy, I tried everything. And eventually I found Jesus, and it all came together.
Yeah.
And so that's where a lot of what I teach people now comes from. God really kind of gave me a roadmap into what works, what doesn't work. I've been working on my healing for a very long time, and there was seasons in there where I was completely isolated. There was seasons where I was like, when is my calling gonna come?
Yeah.
But I was being prepared.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's two routes I'm thinking about going.
Yeah, there's a lot. I just gave you a lot.
Yeah. So can we double tap on what happened when you were 15 that made this journey start?
Yeah. So I had a really hard childhood.
Okay.
And I started failing in school. I couldn't stay awake. I was super sick. I was super depressed. I was suicidal. I basically just started rapidly going downhill. Part of it was I didn't have the crutch of soccer because that was my life at that time. That was what got me through everything. But I could no longer play. And then I just started spiraling. My health was terrible, all these things. And whatever. I went and got all these different health tests, brain scans, all kinds of things, and they were like, you've experienced a significant trauma, and you have significant post-traumatic stress disorder, amongst all those other things I shared: anxiety disorder, clinical depression,
Yeah.
dissociation disorder, all the different things.
It's a
And
lot of things to receive from a doctor.
it's a lot of things. Well, I got an extensive brain scan from the Amen Clinic, which I don't know if you've heard of Dr.
Never.
Amen, but
Mm-mm.
he's very well renowned in his field. So I got a lot of information on my brain at a young age. And they basically told me it was their psychological professional opinion I would never be able to live a normal life because of everything I'd been through and how kind of messed up my brain was. But they also said, you have the brain structure of a CEO, but you also have all these other things. And so you're either going to be very successful or you are going to fail miserably at life. It was like, either way, you will never be normal.
Yeah. Whoa.
And they were right.
Yeah.
But what they did not account for was the healing power of Jesus. I now do not have PTSD, don't have anxiety, don't have depression. Like, those are gone.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So
Man,
I don't know if
so
that answers your question.
yeah, so no, it's good. No, so like when you talk about did all these things, you tried all these things, and then you ran into Jesus.
Yeah.
When did that happen?
I met Jesus like fully 3 years ago.
Okay.
So at the time I was going to music festivals. I was kind of doing the whole Nashville scene for like a little period of time. I was going out all the time and doing all this stuff. And at these music festivals and whatnot, I experienced the other side. I saw how demonic it was. And it hit me really hard. I have always been very aware of the spiritual realm. And so seeing the demonic side of that, I started just praying in the middle of it. I remember just like looking up to the sky in the middle of crowds of people on drugs, and I was on drugs myself, just being like, just please protect me because I can feel the darkness. I could feel it. And I just decided to run away from all of it. And so I moved out of the house I was living in. I moved into my own apartment. I cut off everyone, all my friends. I stopped going out completely. I just completely isolated myself in this apartment. And I kept seeing the verse, seek the kingdom of God first, and all these things should be added to you. I saw it everywhere. It was so weird. And I just was in my apartment and I saw Jesus, and he just came to me. He was literally right there. Like, it was like I could touch him and hold him.
And
And
are you talking physically? Like you could see him with your eyes, or you could
I could
feel him with your presence?
I could feel him with my presence, and I could see a light.
Okay.
So, but it was like I could see him through my spiritual eyes.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. And so I encountered him, and I was like, oh my gosh, Jesus is God.
Yeah.
Like, I just never knew that. I didn't know. And I was like, that's like everything. That's the answer. Like, that's it. And so I did what the verse said, and I seeked the kingdom with my whole heart. And I bought my first Bible, and all I did for like, it's probably like 4 months, 5 months, all I did was read the Bible, watch The Chosen, listen to worship music, and pray. That is literally the only things I did. And then I got to see why that verse is so true, because my entire heart, mind, spirit was transformed, and then my entire life changed. And all of a sudden, I remember I wrote out this prayer list of like everything that I wanted or, everything that wanted to happen.
Yeah.
And again, to go back, sorry,
You're good.
this is important.
No,
When I first discovered him, I was in a deep depression because
this was 3 years ago.
3 years ago. Yeah, I was in a deep depression because I was like, God, I know my whole life, I've always known that I was called to do something big, and I'm not doing anything. Like, nothing is happening. Like, that was what made me survive everything I went through. I was like, why did I go through all of that to come, like, work a 9 to 5 and be isolated in an apartment? Like, I don't understand. And I was losing hope. And I think God was like, she's losing hope. Quick, it's time. Pull her out. And he pulled me out of that depression, was like, okay, it's time. Like, you're going to start walking in that. You're going to start, And so, but he was like, I'm going to send you my son to do it, to show you the way. And so that's when I met Jesus.
Wow.
And anyways, I wrote out that prayer list of like everything that I wanted. This was like a 5-year, 10-year list. Within a year, I got every single prayer answered, every single one, in ways that I could not have expected. Goosebumps right now. And then at the end of that year, again, he asked me to give it all up. He asked me to give it all up. And he said, now are you ready to receive everything I want for you? I gave you everything you wanted. Now do you want everything I want for you?
Yeah. Oh,
And so
man.
I walked away from
That's
all
so
of it.
good.
And I got some of it back,
Yeah.
but a lot of it I really had to walk away from.
Yes.
And then now I am actually, since that moment, well, there's, a little season of having to struggle with losing all of it and having faith. But then now I have community. I have purpose. I am running a business. I am doing all the things that that I feel like I was actually created for.
Yeah.
And I'm fulfilled.
Yeah.
So
That's amazing. The story of the rich young ruler in the Bible has terrified me because this man comes up, what it says, rich young ruler, comes up to Jesus and says, I want to follow you. And Jesus says, okay, give all that you own to the poor and then come follow me. And it says that he walks away sad. And I, especially as life has continued and have only acquired more over time, um, I think my main prayer right now is, Lord, I do not want the things that I own to be so attractive to me that when you call me to give it all up, or when you call me to follow you into a place that's not efficient in my standards or convenient in my standards, that I don't skip a beat. Yeah. When you show up, I don't want to skip a beat. I don't want to think, oh, but am I willing to give that? I want to live my life in such a way where I'm always ready to give it all up for Jesus. Whatever, with the brand, the job, the business, whatever it is, I want to be willing to give it all up because, like we said earlier, the things are not the treasure.
Yeah.
The influence is not the treasure. He is the treasure.
Yes.
The fact that he wants to be with us, like dirty, broken, traumatized us.
Yeah, it's
is
amazing.
Yeah, it changes the game. It's like, okay, if he wants me, sure, here you go, here I am. Are you sure you want me? Here's who I am.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I want you.
Yeah.
And then because of that, you're like, okay, so Jesus sees me for me.
Yeah.
And says, I still want you. That frees us up to be us.
Exactly.
That frees us up to step into the gifts that he has called us to.
That is so true. And I think a lot of non-believers will say things like, oh, you're dying to yourself and your whole personality is being a Christian, all this kind of stuff. It's like, no, I'm actually the most myself I've ever been because I am free to be me without fear. When you fear God, you fear nothing else. I don't fear anyone's opinion. I'm still human, obviously, but like,
imperfectly.
Yeah, but like, that's why we're supposed to love of fear, like fear God, is because now nothing else matters.
Yes. Yeah, I took a trip around North America for 5 months. Lived in my car. So fellow homeless person, intentionally homeless.
Love it.
And traveled around, and people will ask me, like, what, you traveled around alone for 5 months, that has to change you. Like, what are like the significant lessons that you've learned? What are some of the significant things you've experienced? And there's one thing that I tell people. If people just have time for one thing, I say, if you fear man, you you will always live in bondage. But if you fear God, you will always live in freedom. And I think that is one of the most powerful things I've ever learned in my life. Because when you are free from the fear of man, I mean, what can't you do? If God is for us,
because now you're
who
not
can be against
blocking
us?
God from fully flowing through you. And we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. But if we, our own barriers of what people think are in the way, then we're limiting his power. The only thing he needs is our faith and our obedience to be open to his power moving through.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you started on social media 4 months ago. You went through this process where you felt called, you started it, and it's all about boxing. Tell me what's been the journey of boxing?
So boxing, oh, man, this story is intense.
Okay, here we go. I'm here for it. I'm a little scared, but I'm here for it.
Yeah, so when I first moved here 5 years ago, 2 weeks after that whole story I just told you, 2 weeks into it, I went out to a bar. Ironically,
2 weeks into what? Sorry.
Into moving here to Nashville.
Moving here. Okay.
I went out to a bar, ironically, to watch the McGregor fight.
Okay.
And I ended up getting drugged. And I woke up in the emergency room the next day with no memory of what had happened. Turns out I had gotten in a physical fight. I remember one glimpse. I have one glimpse from that night where my face is on the concrete. And I remember thinking, if I don't fight for my life, I'm going to die right now. And apparently someone found me circling in the middle of the street saying, I'm going to die, I'm going to die. And they put me in an ambulance. And apparently I made a bunch of friends along the way. I don't remember any of them. But there was angels looking out for me that night. I looked in the mirror in the hospital and I was all beat up. I had scratches, bruises, dislocated jaw, concussion. Like it was bad. And in that moment, I vowed that I would learn to protect myself. It put a fire in me. I don't want to say a fear, but like a fire in me to like protect myself. And I really felt called to start boxing. Okay. A couple months later, I met a professional boxer who agreed to give me one-on-one lessons for free.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So then I started boxing I boxed for 3 years with him. And throughout beginning boxing, I was like, this is super therapeutic. And again, I had done 10 plus years of every form of therapy there is. And I was like, there's something far more therapeutic about this than anything I've ever done because it's taking action and it's creating these resolutions rather than just going over my problems over and over and ruminating on them like we do in traditional talk therapy, which is actually the leading cause of depression. And so I was like,
what?
Ruminating on your problems is the leading cause of depression.
Whoa.
But that is what talk therapy is.
Yeah.
Is ruminating on your past, on your problems, just talking about it over and over. And so we've built a system that keeps you stuck in the system. Whoa. So they make more money, but yeah. And so
you're literally blowing my mind right now. That's crazy.
Yeah. And so I thought to myself, and it was just this random thought. I was like, someone should do this intentionally. Someone should create a program where you're guided through therapeutic breakthroughs through the art of boxing. And I, told a couple of people about it and they were like, that's a really good idea. And I was like, yeah, someone should do it. You should do it. You should do it. And
thinking it's for somebody else.
And then I don't know if I should be sharing this, but then I went to an ayahuasca ceremony in the jungle of Colombia.
Okay.
Yes. And
what is an ayahuasca therapy?
So ayahuasca is a psychedelic. It's a plant that is found in the mountains of Colombia by like the Amazon River. Yes, and you drink it. Okay. So I drank it with a bunch of Christian shamans. They pray over you. It's this whole ceremony. So I did the ceremony, and in it, I was talking about that idea with God. I literally was talking with God, and he said, "You're gonna do it." And I was like, "Me? I'm gonna do it." I was like, this was an idea for someone else, Lord, not for me. And he's like, no, you're going to do it. Why do you think I've taken you on this entire journey to learn all the different forms of therapy that there is and then into boxing? And so he was like, you're actually the perfect person to do it. And it just like clicked. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is what I've been prepared to do. And I went home and immediately, within like a week of getting home from that retreat, I started building a gym. I had no idea whether this idea would be successful. I had no clue what I was doing. and I built a gym by hand.
Yeah.
And put
Is that the one right here?
right there.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, put every dime that I had into it, and this sounds dramatic, but I felt like I was building like Noah's Ark because everyone thought I was crazy.
People were like, "What are you doing?"
Everyone was like, "You're insane!" Like,
there's something coming.
I was like, "This is God told me to do this," and everyone's like, "This is not the smartest idea. Like, you're putting all of your money into starting a business that you don't know will be successful and building a gym by hand. You don't know how to build a gym." And so but I knew, like, I just had faith, and so I built it.
Is this pre-Christianity or pre-Christian or post-Christian?
I found Jesus after I found boxing.
Yeah.
But right before I had that revelation.
Yeah, there was like God was wooing you towards himself.
Yes, yes. So when I was building it, I had Jesus. But I had found him right before the ayahuasca ceremony, which was why I was very skeptical about going. Because I was like, I don't feel like God would be calling me to go do, in my mind, like this drug in the middle of the jungle. But I really felt like he's calling me to do it. And yeah, that's where he gave me the revelation. God just kept reminding me this will not be done by your strength. Like, you don't have to work, because I was really worried that I didn't have the capabilities or the qualifications to do this. And he was like, it's not you doing
Come
it.
on, yeah.
Like, I just want you to be there so that I can speak through someone.
That's great.
That's it.
You're just the vessel. Let me do it.
Just the vessel.
Let me do my thing.
Exactly. And that gave me so much relief, because I was like,
Yes.
oh yeah, if you called me to do this, you're gonna do it.
He does not call the qualified. He qualifies the called. Let's
exactly.
go.
And he put this like vision on my heart of, I'm calling you to equip my warriors for battle, and I'm going to send you the warriors that are ready to be equipped. And so I have not reached out to a single potential client since I started my business. Every single person has been someone where they were like, I feel like God's telling me to come do this. And they've all just come to me. I've not sought it out, other than, putting myself out there on social media or whatever.
Yeah.
But even before social media, it would be like random people would come. And I know it's always only the people that God knows are ready. And I am like picky on who I bring in too, because I'm like, did God tell you to be here? Because if not, this is a big commitment that you're about to launch.
So tell me about that commitment. What does that look like?
So it's a pretty extensive program, and it's different for everyone. So I tailor it. Most of the bread and butter of what I do is individual sessions with clients, and I tailor it to their specific goals, their trauma, and what we do. What a normal session would look like is you come in and we do meditations and prayer to discover what is the thing that is holding you back. What is the lie from the enemy that is keeping you stuck? What is that thing? And we bring it to the surface. Allow yourself to fully feel it, fully have permission to bring it out of the darkness into the light.
Yeah.
And there's usually a lot of crying. And then once we have it, okay, now we're going to take it outside of you. This is no longer a lie that lives in you. This is no longer something that is a part of your identity. It is now something that we are going to fight against.
Whoa.
And so I take it outside themselves. I have them personify it basically into this thing that they're fighting against, and then they actively fight against it. And so I'll have them write it down, put it on the bag.
Okay.
They fight against it with all their might. They'll scream, yell, cry, laugh, whatever they got to do. They fight against it. Just go through it. And then we will go do another therapeutic practice or meditation or prayer to rewire their brain towards that lie and replace it with God's truth. So now we're creating actual resolution on that thing that was holding them back. And so that's where it's different from traditional therapy, in the sense of, usually you come in, you talk about your past, you talk about your problems, and then you go home with no resolution.
Yeah.
What I do is we pick one and we fight it and we rewire your brain. And because you're taking action, it locks it in a way where they remember this forever, and they recognize that it is an attack and not a piece of who they are.
Okay.
And so it's basically about taking your power back from the enemy.
What is it? Is there a name for this kind of therapy?
Therapeutic boxing, and I mean, I think I invented it.
Yeah. Whoa. Okay.
I looked everywhere.
So, do you know who Tony Robbins is?
No.
Okay. So Tony Robbins, I'm not super educated on what it's called and things like that, but he talks a lot about his problems with today's therapy.
Yeah.
Just similar to what you're saying, and he goes through tools.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it might be helpful.
No, I'd love to.
Because he, people who have snake phobias for like 15 years, and they've been being treated by a doctor, he fixes in an hour.
Yeah, no, I'm
just
open
through
to
different
all
tools.
those different. I think that we need to be coming up with new ideas, because the current system was built on one psychologist kind of beliefs that aren't actually helpful. It's all about digging into your past. And there's only so much of that you're supposed to do before you take action and you take steps forward and you rewire your brain and you do all of this.
I love that statement of rewiring your brain.
Yes, because we are very malleable. And that's like God, when you find Jesus, like your neural pathways change.
Yeah.
Like your actual brain chemistry, I believe, changes. And so it's like neuroscience actually aligns with scripture. Like renewing your mind, that's a real thing that happens, you know?
Yes.
So
That's really good. I and so this is in so many different facets where we try and separate spirituality from practices like counseling,
yeah.
and say like there's the Christian practice and then there's the counseling practice and all these things. But the thing is the creator of the universe wired our brains. So if there is a way to rewire our brains,
Yes.
he's the one that has given us the tools, and we are just, we are just journeyers and travelers trying to figure out the ways that we're supposed to rewire our brain, the ways to do that.
Exactly.
And some of them are found in scripture and some of them are not found in scripture, but
As
nonetheless,
long as it aligns with scripture,
yes,
that's all that matters. And I do think a lot of Christians also will think, oh, well, you don't need therapy, you just need Jesus. It's like, well, Jesus is going to give you the tools, but you do need to do them.
Yeah.
And so it's both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so good, man.
We still got to do the work, but it has to be biblically aligned.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like you said, he's the creator of everything. Why would we separate him?
Yeah.
And I did go to school to be a therapist.
Did you?
Yes, but I wouldn't be able to pray with my clients. I wouldn't be able to do any of the transformation that I'm doing right now. I would have been so limited. And so, yeah.
I believe that in so many ways there is we live on a conveyor belt for the first 22 years of our life. If you're a doctor, the first 32 years of your life, and you are pushed along. These are the classes you take. Here's the schedule you're supposed to have, and then you're dropped off this conveyor belt after college, and they're like, okay, what do you want to do? What's your dream? And you're like, what do you mean? You've thought for me.
You didn't let me dream.
You've thought for me my entire life. And so how am I supposed to know? And in so many ways, the Matrix, that I think the Matrix is one of the greatest movies when it comes to like thinking about real life. And I feel like each of us has to go through this moment where we take the pill.
Yep.
And we realize, oh my goodness, I was made for a purpose. I was made for something very specifically. God did not make a mistake when he made my physical attributes, when he made my characteristics of my personality.
Yep.
And he actually is using his desire is to use all of those things for a very specific purpose, to push back darkness and establish light in this cultural moment.
Yes.
And helping, there's nothing greater to do in life than to help other people find that.
Exactly.
To help other people go on the journey of what have you been through? How can we rewire our brain? Now that you've been healed, or now that you've rewired your brain, now let's serve other people.
Yes, and that's why I think people are like, why are you so passionate about this therapeutic boxing thing? Or why are you so spread the gospel so much and tell everyone about Christianity all the time, blah, blah, blah. Because I've been so radically saved and healed and transformed. And all I want is for other people to experience that. So it's never to, it's never to judge anyone. It's never to be like, this is the way to live. Ever. I want you to experience the freedom that I've experienced, because I was in bondage and chains and depression, and now I'm free.
Yes. And it is out of an abundance of love
It's all
that we
love.
share the gospel.
It's all love.
And if we are fighting against something, we are not fighting the person. Ever. We are fighting the principality.
I always say, so I'll get like my clients, or if I'm in a relationship or a friendship or whatever, I'll be like, me and you are right here, and the problem is right here. Even if it's literally something that's like going on with them that's wrong with them, like, we're right here. Here's the problem. Let's figure out together how to deal with this problem, because it's me and you versus the problem. It's not me versus you.
That's right.
Ever.
That's right.
So
that's right. And I think there's something to learn in that when it comes to friendship and a relationship. And I think that the thing that comes to mind for me is the political side of the importance of not demonizing one another and humanizing one another, and say, no, I'm not fighting you. I'm fighting principalities.
Yes.
And yeah, that's really cool. So recently you made a post, and I want to ask you about the post.
Okay.
And it has to do with purpose.
Yeah.
Do you? I mean, this was
I
probably
posted 2 purpose videos,
okay.
so I was wondering which one.
If I'm remembering correctly, so
was it stop chasing your purpose?
Yeah, you talk about the difference between chasing your purpose and chasing God.
Yep.
And how you should not chase your purpose, you should chase God.
Yep.
And I wanted to double
stop chasing your purpose and start chasing the one who put you on this planet for that purpose. He'll lead you.
Yeah, can you double tap on that? I want to double tap and get more info on that because I want to know your perspective on this.
So where that came from, and it's funny because my mom actually commented on the post, and she said,
"It's always a scary thing when mom comments on the post. Whenever my mom comments on any of my posts, I'm like, oh no, what did you say?"
My mom, I love my family are like my biggest fans, and I love it. But my mom, she said, it's something like this wisdom comes from learned experiences the hard way, or something like that, because she knows what I obviously would have been through.
Yeah.
And she's so right. So kind of how I came to the reason that I know we have to stop chasing our purpose and we have to chase the one who gave us our purpose is because I've done it both ways. And I've wanted purpose so bad my whole life. But when I look back on what actually got me to walking in the purpose that I am now, it is detours that actually made no sense. And had I gone the way that made sense for the plan, I would never have arrived. And I could not have planned any of that because I mean I wouldn't have ever imagined I'd even be in Nashville. But every single little detail. And
I mean, you would have been married for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
5 years into marriage.
God, thank you, Jesus. No shade, but yes. But yeah, there's no way that I could have written that script. And so I'm just very thankful and so it made me realize once I kind of saw once I saw the amount of times where everything fell apart, I was redirected, and then God made it better than it ever could have been. It's like, I just 100% trust you because you always turn things out for good, and it's never, ever in a way that I could have imagined. So I'm going to stop trying to imagine it, and I'm going to stop trying to chase what I think is going to get me there.
Yeah.
And I'll probably get there a lot faster.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. I like that. You know, when I first saw the video, the first thing I thought about was, and actually, some of it is like where my content is. I believe that so much of the Christian community receives their entire life this just chase God, just chase God, just be a just be good little boys and girls, be good Christians, and through that, there's a lot that when you talk about purpose, there's a lot of like overarching umbrella purpose. You know, love God, love others. Depending on
we're all one in purpose, but different in
so like depending on your denomination, it depends on what that little umbrella purpose is of like, I think one of the catechisms says like to love God and enjoy him forever. And so there's these different like overarching purpose, but God has each of us here for a very specific purpose.
Yes.
And I think from my perspective, when I watched your video, I was like, yes. But also that individual purpose is so important.
It is.
But what you're saying is unique. Through chasing God and through aligning with God. Yeah. So, and maybe you're talking more so to like, who's your audience? Yeah, who's your audience too? Like, because you have a difference between, if your audience is non-Christian or new believers, it's like, yes, chase God, just pursue Him, and He will make your purpose.
Well, so the purpose of what I was trying to kind of say is, if you really want to reach your purpose, if that is the whole goal, then stop chasing it. And the best way to find it and to get there is to chase the one who paved the way for you towards your purpose, because he put you on this planet for it. So he's obviously going to get you there.
Yeah. Okay.
But only he knows how.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really good. That's really good. And I think that is so important, and that talks more so to what we were talking earlier about the difference between where's the treasure? Yeah. Is the treasure in your purpose, or is the treasure in
the treasure is him, but also the only reason I want to be on this planet is to serve him and have the purpose.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. And the Bible actually makes that clear to us. Yeah. It says, I think Acts chapter 13 says, when David had fulfilled all that the Lord had for him on this planet,
Yep.
he fell asleep.
Yep.
And so we can know, meaning he died. So we can know if there's breath in our lungs,
Yep.
there's more for us to do. There's more people to impact. There's more people to serve. There is more for you to do on this planet.
Yep.
And that is like there's like a that gives you a spine to be
Yeah.
like, all right, God has me here. So
Yeah.
like life is hard right
It's
now,
not random.
but God has me here.
Placed.
Yeah. So what am I supposed to do today? All right, let's step into it. Let's step into it faithfully. What's on the agenda? Yeah.
Let's go. And it's when you really open your eyes to the spiritual realm of what that means, you can be at the gas station and you truly know that you are there. God sent you there and there's someone you're supposed to talk to. And that is the case every single place you go. And but to do that, you have to be so present and you have to be following God. And so if I'm in my mind going through driving and then going to the gas station and going to the grocery store in my mind thinking about how am I going to make an impact tomorrow through these videos I post or through this evangelism I do, then I'm not present in the grocery store to tell that old lady that she's beautiful, which could change her life,
Yeah.
or to
And
pray over her.
that is so difficult to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like it there you're so correct in
It's so hard.
in the presence
Mm-hmm.
part, like being present, like be where your feet are. But man, it's so easy. Like the
Mm-hmm.
temptation to be like, but what about the worries of life? You
And
know?
I think going back to the very beginning when you said, a lot of influencers are kind of, whatever, I think it gets increasingly harder to do what we're talking about right now, being the hands and feet in the present moment, the bigger some of your purposes are. Because you're thinking, oh, I do these huge things, but it's still just as important to be present at the gas station.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. I had a sobering moment a few
Mm-hmm.
weeks ago when I was having a very significant conversation with somebody, and they were opening up about some very vulnerable things. And I had a thought of, yo, this would be great content. And in that moment, it kind of stopped me, and I was like, Chase, what?
I've had that too, yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
No, be present with the person in front of you. There's a time and a place for stuff like that. And I mean, this podcast is one of those places where we get to have significant conversations on camera to help people. But the temptation to be like, oh, I need to capture this moment is I feel like is us trying to take control and us saying, no, I need to capture this so it can help other people when the person that we were intended to help is the person right in front of us.
Mm-hmm.
And we get so stuck in this, and you're correct. Like
Yeah.
in the creator world, it is so easy to become that.
Yeah.
But getting outside of ourselves and and
Yeah.
and being intentional about that, I think is
And it's such a balance too, because like the reason we even put those moments out there, like I've put a lot of like genuine moments with strangers on the internet, and there will be people who comment like, why did you film this? Why did you put it on the internet? It's like because I've gotten hundreds of messages of saying I also needed to hear what you just told that person, or I also, this inspired me to go pray for someone or whatever. And so God is a God of multiplying, and so when he does, we should wait for him to say capture this,
yeah.
but when we do capture and put it out there, he then can multiply it to all the other people that need it as well. But there are times when that moment is just for that person. That is it, and that is sacred. And I think like the more in tune we get with the spirit, the better we will be at balancing that and knowing like
balance. Yeah,
when is this a moment that's just for us, and
yes,
when it's but yeah, that's really self-aware for you to recognize that. I also had that same moment and I was like, oh, I gotta check my heart posture, because I don't ever want to get carried away. I don't ever want to like think it's about anything else.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's really good.
Yeah.
You said in one of your posts, you said God uses ordinary gifts to do extraordinary things.
He doesn't.
And when I saw that you said that, I was like, man, that is so good because that's so true.
Yeah.
He uses our ordinary, mundane lives to do
Yep.
extraordinary things
We
in
don't need to
people's
have
lives.
any crazy gifts, any crazy anything to do to have impact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, thinking about like the ripple effect
Yeah.
of the things that we do, of the people we interact with, of the posts we have.
Yeah.
Like we just don't know. We can't even see the beginning stages of the ripple effect of.
We won't know until heaven.
That's right. And what a day.
What a day it's gonna be.
What a day when we get to
Yeah.
see the ripple effect of like for instance, I was in the Uber. I had an Uber driver, a few months ago who didn't speak very, very little English.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, I want to buy you a Bible in your language, and I want to send it to you. And he's not a Christian. He had like 5 different gods up on his car. And I was like, tell me about these gods. And so he told me in his broken English, and I told him, I said, well, I believe there's a God in the universe that loves you, that died for you. You do not have to earn his love. He came to us. We didn't come to him. He came to us. And there is a tremendous amount of freedom in that, because we don't, as Christians, we don't work for love. We work from love. And sharing the good news of the gospel with him, he was very intrigued by it and very interested. And I was like, can I please send you a Bible? But like, I don't know that. Like, I don't have any connection with that guy. Like, he gave me an address.
Yeah, you'll
to
never
send
know
the
how
Bible to.
far that's spread out.
But
yeah.
what a day
Yeah.
if he read that Bible and the Lord used that to save him. That there's going to be a day that I get to meet him. And we get to have a conversation.
He's like, I'm here because you told me about Jesus.
Literally. Yes. And so it's like, how many of those moments? How many of those moments have we had in our life? And
then on the flip side of it, the negative ones too. Like, we got to, the sermon today at church was about the power of the tongue and how things stick with you. It's like, I just only want to speak life.
Yes.
That's it.
That's right. Yes. I was on the phone with somebody yesterday, and they were telling me, they were like, Chase, so much of what you say is encouraging. And they were like, and you said this one thing that was on the opposite way. Like, I watched it, and my gut reaction was, ugh, rather than inspired. And that's, I want to be inspiring people with my content.
What a good friend to tell you that.
I know. I'm so thankful for her.
Yeah, that's
she's
amazing.
a great friend. And that's what I always want to be doing. I want to be inspiring people. I don't want to be,
So do you think one of your gifts is encouragement? Do you think that's one of the gifts?
I want to help.
I see that on you.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. Yeah. I want to help people get where they feel like they're supposed to go. Yeah. That's what I want to do. Whatever I can do to help you get where you feel like you're supposed to go. Like, how can I serve you? Like, I just want to help you get where you're trying to go. And I want to make sure you don't lose your soul in the process. Yeah. That's what I care more about. That's what I care about more than anything else, is helping you step into what you have been called to by God, and then doing whatever I can to care for yourself.
That is the gift of encouragement, because someone spoke over me once, said I had the gift of encouragement. I was kind of like, I feel like that's, I don't know, the pride in me was like, I feel like that's not like the most power. I don't know. It's just like, she's encouraging. I was like, okay.
You're like, no, I'm bigger than that.
But then my brother, he was like, Hannah, you know what that means though? It's the act of putting courage into another person. You are literally downloading courage into their spirit so that they can then go do what they are called to do on this planet. And I was like, holy cow. Yeah. That's what that's what you're doing.
Yes.
You're so good.
So the whole purpose of this whole podcast, the whole reason I'm doing it is because I want to find people who are doing amazing things in the world. Yeah. And I want to learn from them. And I want to, like, what got you to the place where you're helping other people. And so I want to find, I call them the heroes of our day. That's what I call them. But the unfortunate part is that the heroes of our day would never allow me to call them that on the side of heaven. But that, nonetheless, that's what they are. And it's crazy because, the moment they die, there's no problem calling them the heroes of our day. Like, Billy Graham, the heroes of our day. But if you tell Billy Graham you're a hero of our day, he's like, no, what are you talking about? Stop.
I just want to tell people about the hero.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So, but I want to learn from those people who are doing amazing things on this planet. Yeah. And my name is Chase Goodwin, and my friend told me the other day. She said, Chase, I've never met somebody with a more accurate name. Yeah. She was like, Chase, you are a chaser.
Good wins.
So
that's so cool.
There's my podcast.
The
Chase
love
Goodwin
that.
Show. So I still wrestle with this temptation to win at all costs. Yeah. I've played basketball my entire life, and there's a temptation to win at all costs. Yeah. And no matter who I have to run over. Yeah. And I've unfortunately steamrolled over a lot of people
But you
because of
know what? When winning to you means winning souls for the kingdom of God,
it.
then
And so that's where the cold good piece comes in.
yeah.
So not only am I pursuing, chasing, I'm pursuing. I'm a pursuer, but I'm not just pursuing wins. I'm pursuing good wins because
Yes.
winning at all costs is not worth it.
Never. Yes.
And I want to for myself, whether it be business. If I'm going to build a business, I want to build a business that truly adds value to people's lives. If I'm going to produce content, I want to produce content that values people's time because we only get one life, and I don't want to produce something that wastes somebody's time. So I don't want to just win at all costs. I don't want to go viral at all costs. I don't want all of these things at all costs. I want to have a good win. And that's the essence of the Chase Goodwin Show is that I am pursuing good wins and I'm helping other people who want to win in this life, who want to use the one life that God has given them to produce good wins.
Yeah.
And like I said earlier, and to do whatever I can to assist the soul.
Yes.
Because it's so easy. And I was just talking to my pastor about this today. When we get in the pursuit of life, it's so easy for the gift, the pursuit, the purpose to become the main thing. And I don't want I want to keep the main thing the main thing.
The main thing, the main
yeah,
thing.
and not lose sight of who I'm doing this for and who this is for, whose glory this is for. Not for my own glory, not so people can look at me and be like, man, he speaks really elegantly, or he's really like influential. He has a lot of money, whatever it is. I just want people to say like, man, he spends all of his energy, you know, trying to lift up and lift high the name of God and to be of service to the other people who are doing the same thing.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. I even thought about making a video recently. Maybe I will, but basically saying if there's anyone out there who sees any of my content, anything like that, and thinks like, oh, she's, got together, or she's like anything like that. No, I was broken. I was lost. This is just God.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
And yeah, no, it's I don't want any glory. We as humans can't actually handle glory. We weren't built for it.
Yeah.
We were built to be used for His glory.
Yeah. That's great. That's amazing. What are you struggling with right
What am
now?
I struggling with right now?
What
Balance.
Okay. Okay.
Rest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
I have been going. I've just been, and most of it has been so filling to where I can be run around doing these adventures for the Holy Spirit and working hard and doing all these opportunities, and it's great and it fills me up because I'm doing my purpose. But I also have a tendency to say yes to too many things, and I don't think every single opportunity that comes my way is from the Holy Spirit. And so I'm really working on discerning what is from the Holy Spirit and what is not, because if it's not, it's going to drain me.
Yeah.
And it's going to distract me from what is.
Yeah.
And I can't afford to be drained.
Yeah.
And so I'm really trying to carve out time for rest, make sure I'm fully filled up with the Lord so that when I am doing things, it is fully coming from the Holy Spirit and not from me.
Yeah.
And then saying no to things that God did not send my way.
Come on.
So
Yeah.
that's what I'm working
That's good. And I want our audience to hear this so deeply. 99.999% of the beautiful things in this world were not meant for us.
Yep.
And so this is incredibly grounding because there are a lot of great opportunities out there. There are a lot of great jobs. Oftentimes, when I was in high school, I would look at somebody and they seemed like they made a lot of money. And I'd be like, okay, whatever they're doing, I want to do that. Like, oh, they're a real estate agent. Oh, I want to be a real estate agent, because we were infatuated with the money.
Yep.
But 99% of the beautiful things in this world were not meant for us. But there are beautiful things in the world that are meant for us.
Yep.
And discerning those things and being grounded to the point of saying, okay, Lord, like what good things do you want me to say yes to?
Yep.
I think is really important.
I think it's also important in dating as well, because I think a lot of people are like, well, he's a good guy or she's a good girl. And it's like, 99% of the people who come into your sphere as a
That's
potential
right.
whatever is not your husband,
That's
is not your wife. They're actually somebody else's beautiful thing.
Yes.
And like we have to protect that.
Yes.
And like I don't ever want to. It's part of why I'm radically single right now. I don't ever want
She
a
said
man.
radically single.
Yeah, radically single. I don't ever want a man to stumble further in his marriage because he dated me back in the day. He's thinking about it, or what, and vice versa. I don't ever want my husband to worry that I'm comparing him to someone that I dated, and so I I think not every beautiful person that comes into your life.
There's a lot of beautiful people in the
There's
world.
a lot of beautiful,
Yeah.
great, even Christian, people, and it's an obvious metaphor for all the other things because it's like, well, clearly every single guy or every single girl that I meet is not my husband or wife. So it's the same with every good opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to say that I want to, and I still say this sometimes in my head. It kind of sounds weird out loud, but like I said, I want to like experience all I can in this life. And the way I said that was I want to like suck all the marrow out of life. I want it all. And through that, when I and talking with the Lord, I realized how much idolatry is in that. Like I don't need to go to every national park in the world.
Yeah.
I don't need to experience all the prettiest places in this world.
Yeah.
I don't need to go on all the best vacations in the world. I don't need to experience all of the things this world has. If the Lord gives it to me, that's great. But that wasn't my treasure in the first place. That's not it in the first place. And so like letting go and saying, okay, like what do I have today? Let's just enjoy this.
Yeah.
Let's just enjoy this today.
Exactly.
And we'll see what the Lord gives tomorrow. Maybe we'll be in Thailand tomorrow. Who knows? But
I used to think exactly the same way. I wanted to go everywhere, see everything, and it's like we only have one life. Like I want to do it all, but this isn't the only like this is a small fraction of eternity, and it's not about this life. And say even if because I used to think like if I don't get married in this life, or if I don't start a business in this life, then I never have done something that I could have done. And the reality is, it doesn't matter because in heaven we will have everything that we need. And so as soon as you realize it's not about this life, it's like, okay, I actually don't need everything.
Yeah, it's the people.
Yeah,
that we get
it's about the people we're meeting along the way and bringing with us to the next.
Yeah, I felt that when I was on the road, when I
Yeah.
would spend a significant amount of time alone. I think one of the other things I really learned on the road was that people are really special.
They're so
that
special.
There's nothing so special as getting to impact people.
God said it was his favorite creation.
Did he?
Us.
Did he?
I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Did he?
I mean, definitely. I mean, he made us in his image. Let us make man in our image.
Yeah.
So he definitely set us apart from. I mean, he set us apart from the animals.
And also, he's a creator, and he made us in his image, so we're all creators.
So we are all creators.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then it's like now we talk about the theological way of like we're not gods, but we are creators.
We are designed to create.
That's right. Yeah,
yes.
we are made in his image.
Yeah, and women like actually create human life.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still
that's crazy
obviously,
to me.
but
The whole idea
makes no sense to me either. But no, but just in the smallest facets to the act of making human life, we are creators. We were designed to be in his image and to do that.
Yeah.
And I think too, like I had this vision recently of God is so vast and he made all of us in his image. All of us combined bring a completely different piece of his image together and is necessary for the full picture. And so we're not all made in his image in the same way, or, every single piece is necessary and brings a specific gift that displays a piece of him. I don't know if that's making sense.
No, it is. Yeah, totally. Yeah, like I mean, it's maybe John 15. There are different parts of the body. Yeah. And each of us has unique gifts. If everyone were the ear, what would be the body? If everyone were an eyeball, what would be the body? We have different parts of the body. Yes. We all reflect different characteristics of who God is.
Exactly.
And it's crazy because like holistic, like the whole of it is like the God of the universe. So it's like can't even comprehend that. Okay, I want to get back on track to boxing. Let's talk more about boxing. We had a last time we were together, we had a really awesome discussion about the fact that when you break down physical barriers as an individual, there is something special that comes of it.
Yep.
And the for some reason, the
Mm-hmm.
ability to be vulnerable
Yep.
gets more and more. So, for instance, in basketball, like I played basketball my whole life, and so every Saturday we do basketball, and we do a little devo. We do a 5-10 minute devo before, and then we hoop. And the amount of like deep conversations I've been able to have after hooping,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's crazy. Like
It's
people
insane.
people will start saying things that,
Especially for men. It's
yeah,
just, yeah.
like they've never said before,
Yep.
and it's like it's such a gift. And so
Yep.
I've started to see this pattern,
Mm-hmm.
and started to be like, okay, I need to facilitate. I need to facilitate these spaces more,
Yes.
and that's exactly what you're doing. That's like the focus of what you're doing. It's like you're boxing, sure, but like you're boxing with the purpose of the conversations afterwards,
Exactly.
and to have breakthroughs,
Yep.
which I think is so so special. So
Yep.
how have you seen? So two questions.
Yeah.
How have you seen that play out in boxing with the
Mm-hmm.
therapy boxing?
Yep.
And then second question, and I can ask again later, is the difference between men and women when it comes to this. What are your thoughts on it?
Okay, so I've seen it a few different settings, individual sessions, group sessions, and it unlocks a kind of an openness by physically moving your body, and also it's bonding. And so when you're physically doing an activity, so I'm holding the mitts, they're holding the gloves, we're now bonding, and we've broken that physical barrier, and we're now opening up and creating endorphins and all of these things. And so you're much more able to be vulnerable at that point. And then with men specifically, it's, I think men really only open up.
Tell me what you think of men,
I think
please.
men are much more likely to open up in settings where they're active, and that's why like all of their best friends, like most guys, they meet all their best friends through playing baseball, like
Yeah.
football, whatever,
Teammates.
like yeah, doing activities together, because like that's how you guys bond, and it creates this brotherhood, and then it creates this open space where you just fought together. You're like, now we can fight the other battles, whether you're realizing that or not. Now we can talk about the other battles we struggle with because we have this team or this team. And so it really invites vulnerability in. But there's not a lot of spaces for men or women, but especially for men, that does that strategically
Yeah.
or intentionally.
Yes.
And even for women. But women have the vulnerability without the
Naturally,
sports
yeah.
naturally.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I've had a lot of men come up and be like, I need this. I need the bonding. I need the space to be vulnerable, but also to do it in a way that I enjoy. Like I don't want to sit on a couch and talk about my problems.
Yeah.
I want to fight it out and
That's right, yeah.
go hard with each other against the lies. Like it's also you're in it together. You're like, we're fighting against your lies together,
Yes.
and so yeah.
That's so good. That's really good. And yeah, the amount of breakthroughs. Do you have any stories of like significant breakthrough that you're able to share?
Yeah, I've had, where do I even begin? There's been quite a few.
Yeah. I felt that. Like
Mm,
we boxed last time we were together, and that like barrier, I'm not even sure what endorphins are.
yeah,
Whatever it is, I felt it. Like
yeah,
I there was like some barrier that like broke down when I
yeah,
started doing it, because I was like really nervous.
yeah.
And
No,
I didn't
yeah.
want to show I was nervous, but I
Hmm.
was nervous. And then
Hmm.
once I did it, I was like, all right, let's go. Like let's do
Exactly.
this thing.
It really brings you together and just allows you to get the nerves out. Like as kids, you know how kids just kind of like shake around, do
Yeah.
whatever, like vibe. That's because we
Sometimes
naturally,
you're like, what are they
you're
doing?
like, what are they doing? Exactly. And that's the problem, is that that has been taught out of us
Wow.
because it's weird.
Wow.
But it's actually us understanding inherently as children are how our nervous systems work.
Whoa.
And so in class, when a kid's just like shaking out or like moving around or whatever, they are doing exactly what we are facilitating, which is to shake out the nerves, open themselves up, and like, and so we need to do it more as adults.
Yeah.
But the other thing I was going to say is I've really seen this happen because I knew that that was going to happen in the sessions, and especially in the group classes and the individual sessions, everything, because it's intentionally planned that way. But what I didn't realize is how powerful it would be with strangers. Like when I'm at the park and I box with someone I don't know at all.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden we have this openness and this bond and this excitement and joy to where it breaks down any walls that were in between us as strangers. And so like you can't not be like joyful and open or like
you can't not
authentic.
smile.
You can't, yeah. And so
all of your videos, like you look at the people and they all smile.
Yeah, it's just such a good way to, and it's inviting. And so when I was saying the line of we can use ordinary gifts to do extraordinary things, what I was referring to is that you can use any kind of gift you have, any kind of like weird thing about you to draw people in, and then it opens to the real thing. To okay, now what's going on? Like, can I pray for you? And it's so natural to, instead of just immediately going up to people and being like, I want to pray for you and tell you about the Lord. It's like, I don't even go up to people a lot of times when I'm boxing at the park. I'll just be boxing with someone. People will come watch. I'll be like, hey, you want to join?
Yes.
And then it leads to prayer.
That's
naturally.
Right. Yeah, because it breaks down certain
It
barriers
breaks down
of
the
trust.
barriers.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. You know, in my experience, whenever I've done like street evangelism or street preaching,
Mhm.
if you just go straight into, can I share Jesus with you?
Yeah.
There's a lot of rejection to that. There's a lot of like, no.
Yeah.
But if you first like establish trust,
Yep.
and that's such a beautiful way that you are able to establish trust, is do something fun together for 2 minutes.
And it's super empowering.
Yeah,
too.
like when we boxed for like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
It's not like this, some sessions I'm sure are very long,
Mhm.
but like when you get to meet somebody on the street, it's like box for 30 seconds, you see their joy, and then you're like, yeah, and why am I out here? This is why I'm out here, and there's a God in the universe that loves you, and I
Yeah.
deeply want you to know this
Yeah.
God.
Especially when you're doing those ordinary gifts you have, you display joy because you love them, and then so people feel that joy, and they're like, huh, I wonder why she's so joyful. She's just boxing in the park, and you're like, oh, it's because of Jesus.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, it's just
Come
so
on.
cool.
That's awesome. So you also have spent quite a bit of time, it seems, maybe you don't do this as much as I think you do, street preaching. Going on Broadway, or going to parks and just sharing Jesus with people. Why is that important for you to do?
I think it's because, first of all, I used to be there. I used to do that, and it's dark. And I think that anywhere there is darkness, we have a responsibility to bring light. And maybe it's not the best place for me to be received all the time, but usually it's received pretty well. But it's always shocking to people where they're in this certain mindset, and then they get love and joy in the midst of darkness. And I think it kind of shines a light on how dark and lonely it is, because that may have been their only real conversation of the night that was actually loving, of substance. Yeah. And so yeah, just trying to bring light into the darkness.
Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing. I think street preaching as Christians, I think is one of the more important things we can do, because it's scrappy, and you go through this um like uncomfortable nature of getting outside of yourself. You intentionally have to get outside of
Oh,
yourself.
I've learned so much from it.
Yeah. So street preaching and then also content. Let's talk about both of these things.
Yeah.
Street preaching and content have individually been the number one and number two growing on steroids parts of my life.
Same. Yes.
And so let's take one after another. First off, street preaching.
Yeah.
Being able to interact on an individual basis and share Jesus and say like, this is you might think I'm crazy. Actually, I think most people would think I'm crazy. I believe that there's going to be a God in the universe that comes back on a white horse one day and comes to save us. I believe there's a God in the universe that humbled himself as a man and died and then rose from the dead after 3 days of being dead. Like on the outside, I want to say the word practical, but that's not the right word for it. On the realistic level, that's insanity.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then you read the scriptures.
Yeah.
And your heart starts to come alive to, oh my
this
goodness.
Is living word.
Literally, this is
truth.
Yes, literally, like the Bible says, sharper than any double-edged sword, penetrating to the heart.
Yes.
It penetrates the heart, and so we get to share this good news of Jesus with people, and then we actually get to be more honest with ourselves and be like, okay, where am I actually doubting? Where am I at? Where is my gap of belief?
Yep.
And I think when we're in these protective bubbles of people who think and talk like us all the time, we forget to take our doubts seriously. we forget to really search out answers to the questions we have. But when we're asking somebody else to consider our way of thinking, it makes us think deeply about what we say.
Yep. Exactly. No, and you'll get questions too, and it makes you firmer and okay, why do I believe that? And get to practice it every single day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. And then on the content piece, on the content side of things, oh my goodness.
It's crazy. The amount of confidence that I have gained through preaching or evangelizing to strangers in public and posting things online is insane. But I would actually say for me, the evangelizing in public has done far more for my confidence than social media has. That both I a ton
Totally,
because I had to overcome some serious barriers just to be able to post on social media. So I had to do a lot of learning right before I started that.
Yeah.
But I had never with the evangelism stuff. There is so much that you learn about yourself, and you just it takes practice in order to do that kind of work. And so I now feel like I could go if someone called me up on a random stage somewhere, like I'd stand up and talk, like because you start to learn what works, what doesn't work, how to talk to different people differently, how to just be confident and be bold, and also if they're not all great experiences, well, that's one out of 100.
It's a data point you get to learn from too.
It's a data point, and so yeah, it's just all learning. It's great.
And when the path has been made clear from God, it's like, sure, I'm gonna mess up, but I'm just gonna I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna enter into this conversation not knowing how it's gonna go because I'm trying to honor God.
Well, and that's what I told somebody. Somebody I was talking to yesterday said they were struggling with. Did you feel that?
No.
Look, there's an earthquake or something. Okay, anyways.
Earthquake in Nashville, Tennessee. Sounds crazy. Please, no. Please, if there's an earthquake in Nashville, Tennessee, I don't not want to know what's going on.
I don't know why I thought the mics are fine. Everything's fine. I'm like,
I did not feel a thing. I mean, there's a mower outside.
Oh, is that what it is?
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know.
Holy Spirit?
Holy Spirit. Anyways, I was talking to somebody yesterday who was saying that they have a lot of fear about speaking in front of people and what are they going to say? Are they even qualified to speak and all that kind of stuff? And I said I was talking about how I used to feel like that a lot, but then one shift that helped me was realize I was not focusing on what I'm going to say, the quality of it's not based on how I say it and what I say. I go into it with the intention of inspiring other people to also be bold and to answer the call and to go up and speak if they feel prompted by God. And so even if I mess it up, that wasn't my goal. My goal was to inspire other people to go talk.
Yeah.
Other people to go do things. And so reframing your goals as far as how they impact others versus how I look, I guess.
Yeah, that's great. That's really cool. And I have one last question for you. Do you think that the average dude you can beat up? You think if you box an average dude, you're winning?
What is an average dude in your mind?
I don't know. Like I don't know, just a
What
regular
size?
dude. Just a regular dude.
Okay, regular dude.
Or like the average size male.
The average size male. Well, I have fought two dudes, and
genuinely fought two dudes.
Pretty much.
Okay.
I would say I won one of them, and the other one was iffy.
Okay. So, and when you say fight, what do you mean? Like you got into a
no, like
I
boxing
don't like
gloves.
you or boxing.
No boxing.
Boxing.
Okay, yeah, cool. It was planned. But I would say that I would surprise most men with I think most men would be like, oh, I could beat her up. I think I would surprise them.
Sure.
I also think men are just stronger than women.
Yeah.
That's just, I mean, even if you took a professional women's boxer and you put him against like a dude that works out.
Yeah.
He's probably still gonna win. Men are just stronger than women.
Yeah. Yes.
I do think I would surprise most men though.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Like I don't think I could beat you up.
Really?
But maybe.
That's hilarious.
We'd have to find out.
She's like, yeah, I might be able to beat you up.
If you didn't know defense at all.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
No, I think you could. Men are just stronger than women, and that's bad.
Yeah, and that's that's God.
Yeah.
That's God did that. We didn't do that. God did that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think maybe
I
it's
do think I could defend myself though if it was a situation of not to get all serious, but no, if I was being attacked or something, I have this fire in me where like
come on,
they're going down.
come on.
They're not going to
So
escape at
you're
me.
not wrong.
I'm not a runner. I'm a fighter. I I had this little like funny thing. I told my friend they asked me, they were like, why aren't you gonna do the marathon or whatever? And I was like, I hate running. And they were like, you're a boxer, like you're fit. And I was like, yeah, I literally learned how to fight so I don't have to run a marathon. Like that's how much I hate running.
That's hilarious. Wow, man. Cool. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast. This has been a wonderful conversation. I pray that it helps the viewers in so many ways. And if there's like one thing you could tell my audience, like what do you want them to know?
You are so loved. You're so loved by God, and that if there is anything, um, that's all I got actually.
That's great. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, there's a God in the universe that made you and he cares for you.
He's
And
saying
he
it.
came to this earth.
I ran out of juice right at the end.
Yeah. he came to this earth to die for us
Yes, he
despite
did.
us.
He did.
And he gives us the opportunity to have freedom.
I was just gonna say freedom. That's the one thing. Like if I could just pass on anything that I know to someone, it would be the knowledge of the freedom that comes with Christ. And that's something that's really hard to express in human words, but it's you can't imagine it until you're free. And you don't it's like going your whole life without breathing air and then all of a sudden you get out of the water and you get to breathe for the first time. That's what it feels like. But you don't know what that feels like till you know what it feels like.
Yeah, that's amazing. How can people support you?
um Follow along. Um
I'll put all your stuff in the description.
Yeah, I guess I'm less than support, more if you feel called to try therapeutic boxing, if you feel called to do anything that I'm doing with evangelism or with anything like that, reach out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's great. That's great. Yeah, I'll put everything in the description. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Chase Goodwin Show. Hope you enjoyed it. Please like, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you think. And if you have any ideas of what this podcast could look like, we're still in the beginning stages. So let me know what ideas you have. But thanks, and we'll see you next time.